Y'all, we are back again with another Housewives franchise. The drought is over. The Jersey girls are back. I think this is a cakewalk compared to Potomac, so I'm glad this franchise is back. So we open with a very dramatic preview, I'm sure the climax of the season. And we got our girl, Black Dolores, just sitting at the table serving face. Like at the table at Real Steakhouse. I feel like they've been at Real Steakhouse before for something. Remind me in the comments, please. But yeah, something went down and production is asking her, where did it go wrong? And here we go. We see the fight. We see Rachel coming at Teresa. Keep my husband's name out your... Well, she did her own version of it. Along with that, we also see there's been a shift in the group dynamics, which I'm sure we're going to see play out through the season. Now, I know Jackie is now like a friend of... I feel like her going on Teresa's side after all they've been through is just a little bit inauthentic, fake, and desperate. So I'm not feeling it for Jackie. I think since Danielle took her spot, she's been crunchy about it ever since. Like, really, Jackie? Teresa of all people? That's who you decide to align yourself with? Just to stay on the show, I guess. So yeah, after all the chaos, the screen fades to black, and it's 3 months earlier. Editing team, they need Emmys over at the Housewives franchises. So then we get a montage of the ladies. We're with Melissa. They're in their brand new house. It looks so much better. Oh, Lord. Her daughter's going to college, and that's her plot line. I'm wondering, how is she going to navigate this season since Teresa, as well as like vice versa, they're each other's plot lines. So I'm just wondering, how is that going to go? We're now with Margaret in that hideous house she's in. Like, I love Margaret. I think her and Dolores are my favorite on the show. Like, y'all ain't gonna get me to dislike Margaret. She hasn't done anything yet in my eyes that's been as treacherous as Teresa. So it's gonna take a lot. We're now with Danielle and her family, and I will say I didn't care for her last season. I think she was played by Teresa and Jennifer, so I'm gonna give her a clean slate. Next scene with Rachel, she's having a family gathering. I think she had a good first season, especially going up against Teresa. Like, not all the new girls can do it, and she held her own, so I have respect for her. I like her. The family scenes are just so Jersey. The theme of this franchise has always been about family. So during their dinner, we found out that Rachel's throwing a surprise party for Jen Fessler. She's working with Jen's husband to orchestrate it, and all the ladies are invited, even Teresa, even Jennifer. She said it's not a party for her, it's not a party for her husband, it's not going on in her house, so, you know, she was extending that to Teresa on behalf of Jen and her husband. But she's not interested in a friendship with Teresa because in the reunion, Louis allegedly hired a private investigator to look into Rachel as well as some other cast members. So this is going to be the first event where the entire cast is going to be, and I'm sure some shit is going to go down. So next scene, we're dividing it between Melissa and Teresa. Ironically, two people that hate each other, but they have in common that both their daughters are going to college. For Teresa, it's Gabriella this time. I think she's the second oldest. You know, the best Bravo Pop quiz is name all 4 Teresa's daughters. Gia, Gabriella, Adriana. Oh my God, I can't think of the other one. Ayanya? I like it. It rhymes with Ayanya, Anya or something. I give up. I'm pretty sure I'll figure it out during this review. Oh my God, Melania. She was the baddest one. I think she's the youngest one too. Melania. Okay, I got it. So we're back with Melissa and all her kids, and wow, her sons have really grown up, and they look like some future juice heads just like their dad. And I'm not talking about the kids, I'm just saying the sons look like their dad. In this scene, I'm just waiting for Joe or Melissa to say the T word, because that is their main plot line. It is. And as much as the Teresa fans or Teresa hate to admit it, Melissa is her main plot line. I'm sure they're going to be brought up in some way too. Side note, oh my God, all this product placement by the Housewives, they think they're sneaky. In Melissa's scene, we got Joe in an envy cap, and then with Teresa, she got the namaste bitches. is. Yep, already, I knew it. Melissa found a way to bring up Teresa as they're getting ready for their daughter to go to college. She reminds Joe that this is his second rodeo when he helped Gia move to college. We're back with Teresa, and every time I see Louis the Lobster, he makes my stomach turn. Blah, blah, blah. Louis my soulmate. They're looking at old wedding pictures. I think I skipped out on the wedding special. I didn't give a fuck. We cut to Teresa's confessional, and she's saying at one point she was mad at God because, she landed in jail. She lost her mom. She lost her dad. But now, Louis is the beacon for her, that everything's going to be okay. What I got from this was, after all this time has passed by, she still has not taken accountability for what she did to land herself in jail. I get it, Joe was kind of like the brains, even though that doesn't make sense. I just don't believe personally for 1 second she didn't know what was going on. This scene just feels so staged. They're looking at the wedding album, and then the kids, they're washing the dishes. Louis and Teresa, they're giving each other a kiss. Fast forward. Oh, and a warning for anyone that's new to my channel and loves Teresa, I don't see it for her, and she's gonna get it every episode. So I'm just warning you. So now we see both sides talking about Jen Fessler's party coming up. Teresa and Louis plan on going, and she tells Louis to just follow her lead. We're now with Melissa and Joe, and they're just saying how, they don't care. Melissa then brings up the reunion where Teresa said that she ain't gonna have to see her anymore. And I love that they made Teresa eat those words and put Melissa in the same room with her. Now, I'm not sure how that's gonna work this season with them just not acknowledging each other. Melissa says in her confessional she doesn't want to answer any questions about Teresa the entire season. We already saw how that worked out in Potomac, so who knows how it's gonna play out this season. So next scene we're with Margaret pulling up to Jen Fessler's house. So they just kikiing, and Margaret gives Jen an early birthday gift. It's a vibrator. And can I just take a moment to acknowledge Jen Fessler's quick glow up? That work took 10 to 12 years off her face. I mean, bravo to her surgeon. As they're conversing outside, Margaret's talking about the grief she's going through with her ex-husband. And Jen's talking about her birthday that already passed, but she doesn't know the other ladies have this surprise for her. But she's just saying how the other ladies, they all called her, and they bring up Teresa. She's like, ooh, even Teresa called me. And Margaret currently hates Teresa because I think Louis had the investigator call her son at his job, and she said Teresa is dead to her. Jen offers to talk to Teresa about it because she says Teresa is nothing but nice to her. But Margaret's like, do not bring my name up to her. Don't mention me. She even says she doesn't even want to talk about Teresa again. Well, you're on the same show with her, Margaret, so it's gonna happen. So next scene we're with Teresa and Dolores with their men going to dinner. Wow, both of their men have that reddish lobster tint. But Louis makes a joke about Paulie proposing to Dolores, but the issue is, if y'all forgot, that Paulie is technically still married. He has not divorced his wife, and I side-eye that. And I love Dolores too much for her to be put in a position like this. But, she says she's not fine with it. He's gonna have to eventually divorce his wife, but I don't know, 10 years? Why haven't they divorced? Something in the buttermilk ain't clean. We cut to Teresa's confessional, and she said she's not really worried about it. She said when she met Louis, she wasn't divorced yet, but 10 years though, that's the difference. Hell, I can even see 3 years like what Kenya was going through, but a whole decade, that's just a long amount of time. So of course Jen Fessler's party comes up, and Louis and Teresa said they're going, and Louis said he reached out to John Fuda, Rachel's husband, just to talk it out. And John just says, oh, well, I'll just see you at the party. We could talk about it there. Louis does not want to talk about it at the party. He wants a private conversation. And I'm like, well, for the show, I don't think they would just, focus on two husbands. It has to be around the ladies. So I get why John just wants to do it at the party. But then Dolores asks Teresa, where is she with everybody? She says she's cool with Danielle, cordial with Rachel. She says she's not cool with Margaret, but she will just say hi to her. And then Melissa and Joe, no communication. She will not even acknowledge them. I just don't get it. You can talk to Margaret, but you can't even just say hi to your brother and sister-in-law? But then she brings up, she's mad at them again because before the reunion, I don't know why they just keep saying New York. When we're in New York, the reunion. We get it. Like, we are, how many seasons? We are 14 seasons in. She says Melissa and them met up at Margaret's house so they can plan like a takedown of her at the reunion before it happened. As if you didn't sit down with Jennifer or Coach Louie before the reunion, like the people that's on your side. So it's real petty. So Teresa lets us know that she found out this information from Frank, Dolores' ex-husband. Teresa also says she has a bone to pick with Jen Fessler because she said to her enemies that they didn't execute the plan correctly. She wants to know what that meant. We cut to Dolores' confessional and she says what I said, like there's always a meeting of the minds ahead of the reunion, just so you can, make sure your reads are intact, like, who's going after who, make sure you have my back. It's not a big deal. Everybody does it, but when it's done against Teresa, it's a problem. But when Teresa does it, it's crickets. So next scene, it's the day of Jen Fessler's surprise birthday party. All the ladies are en route. We see Jennifer, the one with the nose, and the husband that's annoyed by her, riding with Teresa, of course, being the minion that she is. Her husband isn't coming because he has surgeries. And now Louis isn't coming anymore because business came up in Florida. How convenient for him. And what does Louis do exactly? So we see most of the ladies arriving. Danielle and Rachel, we see they're in a better place than they were last season. They're starting from scratch. And then we see Jackie coming in. We're back with Teresa and Jennifer, and they're talking about Joe Fuda, and I'm guessing some rumors came out online from his wife that's currently incarcerated, and saying that he was a drug dealer before, and he likes purple double-sided dildos. I mean, why are we bringing this up? And of course, Teresa is using this information to put in her back pocket like a trump card or something. And here go ignorant Jennifer, like smiling from ear to ear like a Cheshire cat saying this information. We cut back to the party and John is talking to the other fellas and he's just laughing the rumor off. Anywho, we see Dolores arrive and she's just giving body yaddy 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 yaddy. Oh my God. Hand claps to her surgeon as well. And now Melissa literally grabbing a handful of her ass at the party. Also, it looks like every interaction Dolores has with the ladies, someone is asking her, so when are you getting engaged? I know she's tired of that. So then Teresa and Jennifer arrive, and of course things get very awkward. Teresa says hello to one set of the ladies. She says hi to Margaret, but Margaret just walks off immediately. I think she said hi and then just hightailed it to the other side of the room. We also see Teresa saying hi to the men, and her brother is right there. Ignored him. It's crazy. Y'all came out of the same vagina, grew up together. I don't get it. That's crazy to me. We then cut to production asking Melissa, how does she feel with Teresa being there? And Melissa says, I feel nothing. So then we cut to Margaret talking to Melissa and Jackie, and we see a little tinge of like contention between Marge and Jackie, because Jackie's talking about her book and she gave Melissa a free copy, and Marge is like, well, where's my copy? Do I need to have a podcast for me to get one? I'm sure production is dropping some foreshadowing there. Okay, so the birthday girl arrives. She's surprised. The party's going along great. I've always wanted to be surprised for my birthday, like genuinely surprised. And it just never happened yet. Hopefully for one of my future birthdays, I can experience that. So we fast forward a little bit, and now the cameras are on the men. They're all together. And Joe, he just gotta get the drama started. He tells, what's his name? Paulie, oh, so where's your friend? Where's your friend? Of course, he's talking about Louis the Lobster. He says Louis out of town on business, and they ain't falling for it either. And then John Fuda's like, that's interesting, because he texted me saying that he wanted to talk. And I said we could talk at the party. And now Paul is defending Louis, saying that their conversation should have been private. Paulie should just stay out of it, and especially in this environment, he's outnumbered. He also seems very uncomfortable because he's getting more and more red. Paulie has now inserted himself into something that has nothing to do with him, and now he's going back and forth with John. And it looks like he's getting more and more like frustrated because you can hear his accent coming out. And I know because when I'm angry or frustrated, my NOLA accent comes out. Tensions are getting high right now. John is saying that he doesn't owe Louis like privacy for this conversation. And Paulie keeps over talking John, and it starts to look like things are going left. And you know Dolores, she's kept one eye on the men ever since they started talking. So soon as Paulie says, you need to shut the fuck up, that's when Dolores comes in and escorts him out. They both leave the party. And I think Dolores knew she did the right thing. I mean, that would have been crazy if we got a brawl in the first episode of the season. That would have been like season 3, right? When they had a brawl at the christening. And I think that was the first episode. You know, a lot of people love to overlook the violence that happened on Jersey, but always bringing up Potomac, always bringing up Atlanta. I wonder why. So as Dolores and her man leaves, the party continues. And then a little later, Jennifer and Teresa are about to leave. So Jennifer says goodbye to, I think, Melissa and then Rachel. So then Teresa goes up to Rachel to confront her about John Fuda coming for Louis. I mean, she has some nerve considering what Louis the Lobster allegedly did. Teresa is saying how Louis tried to have a conversation with John before the party, but her husband was the problem. So they're going back and forth, and you see the hands, Teresa starting already. And then she says, my husband is a gentleman. Rachel says, what do you know about gentlemen? Then Teresa has that paused look on her face, like you can see the cogs moving. And then she starts to go in or try to go in on Rachel. You don't know my husband. He's a gentleman. So now, of course, Teresa's being predictable and now throwing the rumors she heard about Rachel's husband in her face, starting with the drug dealer accusation. They go back and forth a little bit more and Teresa storms off. Rachel calls her a coward. And then we can hear Teresa saying, I will take that fucking bitch down. Oh, really? Like you did Melissa? So then we see John Fuda pass Teresa and Teresa's like, hi, double-sided dildo. I'm not sure if he heard her, but isn't she just so predictable, y'all? What do y'all see in her? Teresa peeked at the table flip. So now, instead of Teresa leaving the party, she now has to let everybody know that she's getting into it with Rachel. Like, girl, just leave. So Rachel in on the shenanigans too. So now that John's next to her, she yells across the room, Teresa, you want to tell John what you said? You want to tell him? Like she goes up to Teresa, like side by side, and presents her husband to her. I don't like this though. Like, I would love to leave the husbands out of it. I mean, Teresa knows what she's doing though, but now they're going back and forth. It's on social media! We were both in prison, right? Now see, Teresa and John, they're right here to each other. That is too close for comfort for me. Like, they both need to walk away from each other. Meanwhile, you got Jen Fester on the other side of the party just acting like nothing is happening. And why should she? It's her party. She should be drunk. So they finally walk away from each other as Joe is yelling across the room to Teresa, has been, and that is where the episode ends. That was a good first episode, y'all. But as y'all know, Jersey always starts off good, and then in the middle of the season, it's like a nothing burger, and then it goes right back up to 10. And then the reunion is usually great. Hopefully I'm wrong in this instance and I'm entertained throughout. But yeah, let me know whose side y'all are on. And this was a decent ass episode. And the Housewife drought is over, y'all. So, and then it's on Sundays too. Like Jersey on a Sunday. That's usually reserved for the Black Bravo programming. So I still don't know how I feel about that. Anywho, y'all, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all for the next episode. Bye.